Hello, today I'll be answering you guys' questions for the 600 subscriber Q&A. Again, thank you all for subscribing, leaving comments, liking the videos, and all the good stuff. Thank you all for the support. Definitely really means a lot, but let's first go ahead and move to the first question, and this is from Jose Carbajal. Forgive me if I butchered your name, I apologize. But his question is, do you like prog metal, and who is your favorite band? Well, first, yes, I do like prog metal, and if you're asking about my all-time favorite band, I don't really have one. If you're asking what my favorite band is in the world of prog metal, my answer would probably be Dream Theater. I mean, of the prog metal bands that I listen to, Dream Theater is probably the one that has the best discography, so by default, I'd probably go with them. But thank you for the questions, Jose. Now let's go ahead and move on to Zach T Productions, a longtime supporter of the channel. Thank you for leaving all these questions. But before I dive into your questions, Zach, I do want to say sorry about your loss. Sorry about your mom. I hope you're doing all right now. All I could say is keep your head up and remember that you got me, Andrew, and your subscribers and viewers. We got your back, and if you want someone to talk to, we're here for you. But anyways, let's go ahead and dive into your questions. First question, underrated System of a Down songs. Let's see. Well, Soil has to be one of them. That's maybe one of their heaviest songs, and I really love that one. Mind, which I think, if I remember correctly, is their longest song that they ever made, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Soil, Mind. Prison Song. Shimmy, it's a shorter song, but I personally really like that song a lot. I'd also say Forest. What else? I really like 36. I mean, it's only 46 seconds long, but I really like that song, actually. Intervision's another underrated song for them. Maybe one of my favorite System of a Down songs. What else? Revenja from Mesmerize. Dreaming from Hypnotize. But yeah, those are some songs that come to mind. But the next question is underrated Incubus songs. Clean from Make Yourself. 11 a.m. from Morning View. A Crow Left of the Murder from Crow Left of the Murder. A Kiss to Send Us Off. Admiration from the Stealth soundtrack. I'd say Glass is underrated. Redefine is underrated. Nebula, which I think is maybe one of their heaviest songs. But yeah, those are some songs that come to mind. Underrated live songs. Insomnia from Secret Samadhi. Tired of Me. Iris. Top. Where Fishes Go, I think, is easily one of the most underrated. I really like that song a lot. Probably one of my favorite live songs. She from Birds of Prey is another underrated song for me. But yeah, those are some songs that come to mind. Bands you would like to try to get into nowadays. I'd like to get into Sodom, Crowbar. Yellowcard is a band I've thought about looking into. Suffocation is a band I've thought about looking more into also. But I think that's it at the moment. There might be some I'm blanking on, but those are some bands that do come to mind. 3 bands that are no longer around that you would have loved to see live. Well, Rush is definitely an obvious choice for me. Definitely got to say Rush. Who else? I don't know if Faith No More is around anymore, if they're still doing anything. But if not, I definitely would say Faith No More, so yeah. Rush, Faith No More, and Black Sabbath. Which Korn album do you find most underrated? I'd probably say maybe Take a Look in the Mirror. I know the band themselves are not big fans of that album. I know some people have said, I know it's been said that that album was apparently rushed due to low sales from the previous album, but I really like Take a Look in the Mirror and the heaviness of that album. But I might pick that album. Do you think Black Sabbath would be just as big today if they retired after the original Ozzy 70s run? I'd say yes. I mean, because again, their 70s run with Ozzy, you just can't touch that. I mean, the Dio stuff is good too, but I think they would still have I think their impact would still remain the same if they were to retire right after the Ozzy stuff in the 70s. And rightfully so. Again, definitely really great run. I mean, not everyone's big on Technical Ecstasy and Never Say Die. I actually like Technical Ecstasy. Never Say Die is kind of for me. I like the first 3 or 4 songs, but that's about it for me. Next question: which Mission Impossible film do you find the most underrated? I might say the third one. Thoughts on the martial arts film genre as a whole? I think it's cool. I'll admit I haven't seen very many in terms of lately, but I do like the genre though. I mean, it's not a genre that I seek out all that often, but again, I do like the genre though. Favorite Liam Neeson movies? I've seen, of course, I've seen Taken, but I've never saw the sequels. I know I've seen more other Liam Neeson movies, but for whatever reason, Taken's the only one that I can remember at the moment, so I guess I'll go with that one by default. Favorite Wesley Snipes movies? Well, Blade 1 and 2 would have to be in there. Love the first two. Third one I think is poo-poo. Except for, well, the action in that one is, I guess, is okay. But again, Blade Trinity I think is doo-doo. What else? Demolition Man. I really like Demolition Man. And I think that's it when it comes to what, well, of course, I liked him in Expendables, but I think that's all I've seen when it comes to movies with him. I could be wrong, but those are some movies that come to mind. Favorite Donnie Yen movies? I've only seen him in the Ip Man movies and John Wick, so I guess I just go with those. Would you say the Jurassic World films get too much flack? I'd say yes and no, because at the same time, the flack that I've seen for these movies I think are actually fair. I think the first one is probably the best of the three, but it's not really saying a whole lot because I like Jurassic World, the first one, but I've never loved it though. The second one, I'm not a big fan of the second one, to be honest. I mean, I think it's decent, it's all right, but not great. And then the third one, Dominion, I thought was decent. I liked it more than the second one, but I wouldn't really call it all that great. But at least it was a step up from the second one, I'd say. But yeah, I mean, do they get too much flack? I'd say again, yes and no. Because again, some of the flack I've seen for those movies, I do think are actually fair and understandable. Best and worst Terminator film. Well, the best one is probably the second one for me. The worst one is definitely Genesis or Genesis. That one is hot garbage to me. Favorite decade for movies? It'd be either, I'd maybe say the 90s, but you can make the argument for the 80s too. So I'd say either the 80s or the 90s. But yeah, thank you for the question, Zach. Let's go ahead and move on to the next person here, Sinister Santa. Since you like Death and Obituary and Morbid Angel, do you not like the big daddies like Cannibal Corpse, Suffocation, and Deicide? I've tried to get into Cannibal Corpse. They're just not my thing. And I'm also not I'm not really a big Chris Barnes fan. I mean, when it comes to 6 Feet Under, I mean, I like Lycanthropy. I like that song from 6 Feet Under, but that's about it for me. And then, but yeah, Cannibal Corpse, I never could get into them. They're just not quite my thing. Suffocation, as I mentioned earlier, is a band that I would like to look more into. I have liked what I've heard. And then Deicide is another one I've tried to get into. Can't get into Deicide. I like Once Upon a Cross. I like the song Once Upon a Cross, but and then the self-titled song I kind of like too, but that's about it for me for Deicide. Also, what are your hobbies outside of music and working? What do you enjoy doing? Well, outside of music, I mean, it's really movies for me. Music and movies are my two favorite things pretty much. And I still enjoy going to the theaters to go see movies and, you know, buying popcorn, drinks, and all that. I definitely still enjoy doing that. And I still do watch movies at home, of course, but that's basically it though. Well, outside of music and making YouTube videos for you guys. Also, lastly, have you ever thought about getting somehow involved in music or doing things that include music? It has crossed my mind, but I've never really dug deep into doing that though, so maybe that's something I'll have to think about again. But we'll see though. But either way, thank you for the question, Sinister Santa. Let's go ahead and move on to the next person. Tix Nixum. Forgive me if I butchered your name. What do you think is the worst metal subgenre? Either Viking or pirate metal or black metal. I've never been a fan of either of those. At least with power metal, you get some tasty guitar work, but again, pirate metal, that Viking stuff, that is just too hokey, too corny for me. I mean, power metal can be hokey too, but at least you get some pretty good guitar work in that genre, I guess. And then black metal, I've never been a big fan of, mainly because of the production and the vocal style is kind of a turnoff for me too. I mean, I like a few Immortal songs, but that's about it for me. Let's see, but yeah, thank you for the questions or the question, Nixum. Again, forgive me if I butchered your name. But the next question we got is from Blink PS2, top 5 pop punk bands you enjoy listening to. Well, I hate to admit it, but I only like 4 pop punk bands, and those bands are Fall Out Boy, Good Charlotte, Sum 41, and Blink 182. But when it comes to Fall Out Boy, I really only like the early stuff. Their stuff from Take This to Your Grave, or I don't know why I'm blanking on the name of that album, but their first album to Folly Ado, I think is a pretty good run. But I'm not a big fan of their modern work. I mean, their last album I think is their best since Folly Ado, but at the end of the day, I only like the first 3 or 4 songs or so, and that's about it. But yeah, that's about it for me with pop punk. Pop punk is a fairly hit or miss genre for me, but Yellowcard is a band that I did mention earlier that I would like to at some point look more into. But yeah, thank you for the question, Blink PS2. Let's move on to the next question from Killer Bean. Why do you think nu metal got a lot of hate? I think it basically comes down to old school metal fans not being a fan of metal being mixed with other genres, especially rap when it comes to nu metal. I mean, and nu metal was a fairly diverse genre too. I mean, you did hear some industrial in there too, but you also had, of course, some hip hop, rap, and a little bit of funk here and there. But yeah, the mixture of genres was probably the biggest turnoff for a lot of metal fans, which is probably why it gets a lot of hate. And it's not just the music too; it's also some of the lyrics too, because I mean, you got bands like Limp Bizkit and Crazy Town that definitely turn a lot of people off from nu metal, because some people would consider them cringe. I mean, I like Limp Bizkit. Definitely an acquired taste at this point. I mean, they're not going to be for everybody. Crazy Town, I can definitely agree with people. Not a very good band, but yeah, basically mixture of genres, lyrical content, and maybe the whininess of some of the vocalists, maybe. But those are some of the reasons I can think of when it comes to nu metal getting a lot of hate. But yeah, thank you for the question, Killer Bean. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question from QuinBro06. Forgive me if I butchered your name. What was your first ever CD in your collection? It would have been either Hybrid Theory or Meteor by Linkin Park, one of those 2 albums. But yeah, thank you for the question, man. And now for the final questions from Michelle Miranda. Definitely a big Shinedown fan, for sure. Did you listen to A Symptom of Being Human live version yet that Shinedown released? I've heard a little bit of it. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not a live album guy. Live recordings, I never have much desire to check out, because, I mean, I just find it more exciting just to be at the show rather than just listening to live recordings at home or whatever. I mean, I get the appeal of live albums and people liking live recordings of songs or whatever. I mean, I get it, but not really something that I seek out, to be honest. But your next question, when do you think we will get a new Shinedown album? A part of me kind of doubts that it'll be this year, so I'm guessing next year, 2025, but I could be wrong. I mean, but yeah, I'd be open to a new Shinedown album. I thought Plant Zero, the last album, was actually pretty good. I do still have the box set on top of one of my bookshelves. Yeah, Plant Zero, I really like that album. I know not everyone was into that album. I'm guessing the length of the album has something to do with it, or maybe the interlude, too many interludes or whatever. But personally, I really liked Plant Zero. So yeah, I'm definitely open again to more Shinedown music. But yeah, thank you for the questions, Michelle Miranda. Thank you for the support. But yeah, that's it for the questions for this 600 subscriber Q&A. Thank you all for these questions, and again, thank you for subscribing, commenting, liking, and giving all your support to the channel. Definitely means a lot. But yeah, anyways, Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on my answers or whatever and all that good stuff. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment, a like, subscribe. Have a nice day and take care.